This is the warning.
The American people and the whole world witnessed a titanic lie.
I don't like being up here talking about how unsafe and how dirty and disgusting this once beautiful Capitol was, with graffiti all over the walls. It's another part of it, by the way, because we're talking about safety, but we're also talking about beautification. We have the most beautiful, potentially, Capitol in the world. We always had. But people come from Iowa, they come from Indiana, they come and then they get mugged. Not going to happen. Keep coming, because by the time you get your trip set, it's going to be safe again, and it's going to be clean very quickly.
The President of the United States stood flanked by the Attorney General and the Defense Secretary and said that the capital city of the United States was a dystopian hellscape. It was besieged by roving youth gangs. And what was required was the calling out of the army. And so Donald Trump made the announcement, flanked on the one side by his Attorney General and on the other side by his Defense Secretary. And that was deliberate, because what he was saying was that in America, the military doesn't serve the nation or the Constitution or the people, but the whims of a man. And it is an instrument of his personal power. And on the other side was the woman deeply implicated in the cover-up of Jeffrey Epstein, cosplaying in a new role as head of the D.C. Homicide Task Force.
Let me be crystal clear. Crime in D.C. is ending, and ending today. We are going to use every power we have to fight criminals here. President, thank you for caring about our Capitol. Families come here every summer. Our museums are free. We have the National Zoo. We have the National Gallery. DC should be a place where everyone can come and feel safe. Behind me and to my side, we have some of the best career law enforcement and prosecutors in the country who are ready to take this on.
Pam Bondi, a liar, stood there as a symbol that the rule of law in the United States is dead, that it's expired. She is the president's personal lawyer, and the Justice Department is his personal instrument of revenge and retribution. The whole point of what the American people witnessed yesterday was to chill dissent. Now, Trump likes to talk about the fact that he received a historic landslide. It's nonsense. There have been 60 presidential elections in the history of the country. Here is the rank order of them. Here's where Donald Trump fits in. As you can see, it was a small victory. It was a plurality victory. And it was a victory that ranks near the bottom on the totality of the list. There is no majority in America that supports what Donald Trump is doing. This man, elected with 49.5% of the votes, has decided to use the full power, the full weight, the full authority of the federal government to occupy Democratic cities. Some of the most dangerous cities in America are the big cities in red states, cities like St. Louis. But where is the army in the red states? The reality is the performance theater wouldn't be popular there. So what we are witnesses to is one political faction, a minority of the country, using the full power of the American military against a different faction in the country, a white minority using the power of the state to suppress, to oppress, and to take away the democracy from the Washington, D.C. black voter, from the Washington, D.C. black citizen. Washington was a city where slavery was legal, where slaves built the Capitol and built the White House. A city that Dr. King marched to in August of 1963 at the head of what was called a freedom parade. And in that freedom parade, Dr. King shared a dream. And that dream was shared from a spot that remembers the legacy and the memory of the man who preserved the Union, Abraham Lincoln. And on that site, on the walls of that memorial, are the great speeches that Lincoln left for the country. The Gettysburg Address, that makes clear the purpose of the country is liberty, and the second inaugural, which makes clear that the purpose of the nation must be the defense of that liberty. And then, after the ending of a terrible war that had killed 800,000 people in a nation of 34 million, that there be mercy, that there be malice towards none, that the nation seek to bind up its wounds. Donald Trump represents the opposite spirit, an aggressive spirit, a spirit that wants to dominate, to use power to subjugate.
Our capital city has been overtaken by violent gangs and bloodthirsty criminals, roving mobs of wild youth, drugged out maniacs and homeless people. And we're not going to let it happen anymore. We're not going to take it.
Now, imagine if it came to be that there was a legitimate need to use the type of force that Donald Trump is talking about, that there was disorder, that there was chaos, that there was anarchy. Would that not be lamentable? Would it not be a tragedy, a sober moment, a serious one that would require careful explanation about the necessitous nature of the use of violence to bring about peace? There's none of that from Trump because there's no circumspection, there's no thought, because this isn't real, it's theater.
When I look at Chicago and I look at LA, if we didn't go to LA 3 months ago, LA would be burning like the part that didn't burn. If he would have allowed the water to come down, which I told him about in my first term, I said, you're going to have problems, let it come down. We actually sent in our military to have the water come down into LA. They still didn't want it to come down after the fires. But that was it, we have it coming down. But hopefully LA is watching. That mayor also. The city's burning.
What's real are the thugs with federal badges who are being asked to betray the Constitution for the whim of a man. And so it came to be that these people spread out over Fox News to tell America that up is down and down is up and right is left and left is right, and that crime is soaring when it's down, and that what's needed is a dose of fascism and a display of presidential power unprecedented in the history of the country to deal with it. Does that make sense? Does that seem right? Donald Trump said this is coming to a city near you, but not if you live in a red state, not in Salt Lake City that has plenty of problems, not in Dallas, not in Houston. In the blue states, though, they face military occupation by the MAGA faction in control of the armed forces led by a vile man named Pete Hegseth, who has politicized them, desecrated them.
At your direction as well, sir, there are other units we are prepared to bring in. Other National Guard units, other specialized units. They will be strong, they will be tough, and they will stand with their law enforcement partners. This is nothing new for DOD. As the president noted, at the border, we've got 10,000 troops down there who've been operating in defense cooperation areas, defense zones, where there's zero illegal crossings because of troops on strikers scanning the border. We've been protecting other people's borders for 20 years. It's about time we protect our own.
These people, these villainous cretins standing behind Trump, each a charlatan, each a desecrator of the republic, each an arsonist of some of the most sublime ideas ever put to paper by the mind of man. And what they are doing is assaulting each and every one of us in our liberty, our rights. They're making a declaration of repudiation against the independence of the country and the idea that we are created equal and our rights come not from government, but from a creator, a higher power. And there is no compromise to be had on these questions. And no good American will back down in the face of this MAGA obscenity. Behind me is the fourth largest city in North America, great city, Toronto. And it's a free city, one without an army on the streets, one without masked men snatching people off the streets. Later today, there'll be a baseball game played in the stadium behind me, the Rogers Center, and the national anthem of the United States will be played, and it will celebrate a country that professes to be the home of the free and the land of the brave. But you tell me, do these look like images from the home of the free? And what brave people would ever allow that to happen? Fascism has come to America. It is wrapped in the flag, and it is carrying the cross. And it is as dangerous and it is as malignant as the variant of the disease that came before. This is The Warning.
I'm Steve Schmidt. This is The Warning. I invite you to join this community where I promise to be honest, blunt, and direct about what is happening in this country. America is in crisis. Follow and subscribe to this channel and on Substack. Thank you.